it's Angel. Today I'm sharing with you a classic wonton soup recipe. Now this is my grandma's homemade wonton soup recipe, and she loves making homemade wontons and I love eating them. So we're going to make some fresh wontons today. I will be cooking some, so I'll show you how to make the soup, and we'll also be freezing some so we can have for a weekday dinner. So with that, let's get started. For this recipe, we'll need about 1.5 cups of Napa cabbage chopped. I've gone ahead to chop these earlier, and when we're preparing the Napa, we're only going to be using the white parts of the Napa cabbage. When you're done chopping the Napa, put them in a bowl along with 1 teaspoon of kosher salt. We're adding kosher salt because this will help draw out the water. So let that bowl sit aside for about 30 to 45 minutes. After 30 to 45 minutes, drain any excess liquid and mix in 1 teaspoon of sesame oil. We'll also need some shiitake mushrooms. Now I've gone ahead and used dried shiitake mushrooms, which I've reconstituted in a little bit of warm water. And you just set them aside in warm or hot water for about 15 minutes and they'll become soft. Then we'll want to chop them into small pieces similar to the Napa cabbage and toss them in a bowl again with 1 teaspoon of sesame oil. Now, one thing to note when buying shiitake mushrooms for this recipe is that it's better to select the ones that are flat. The flat ones will provide a better texture versus the ones that are a little bit more shapely or puffy. So opt for flat shiitake mushrooms when you can. Next up is our shrimp. We'll need about a dozen shrimp peeled, deveined, and cleaned. And when you're cutting up the shrimp, it's recommended that you first slice the shrimp into half, kind of like your butterfly mushroom, then cut them into smaller pieces. That way the texture of the shrimp isn't lost. And finally, our green onions. I've gone ahead to chop up 1 bunch of green onions. Now before chopping, I actually went ahead to cut some nice angled pieces from the very top green parts of the green onions. And we're going to save those for the soup, which we'll be making later. So now that we've chopped up all our ingredients, it's time to make our wonton filling.
In a large mixing bowl, start with your pork. I'm using about 0.6 pounds of ground pork, not too lean and not too fatty. Then add 2 tablespoons of tapioca flour, 2 tablespoons of filtered water, 2.5 tablespoons of sesame oil, and 2 teaspoons of kosher salt. Mix all the ingredients really well. Then proceed to add your chopped Napa, your chopped mushrooms, your shrimp, and finally the green onions. When you're done mixing the filling, it should look like this.
Now for our wonton wrappers. I'm using store-bought wonton wrappers that are extra thin. So when shopping for wonton wrappers, if you can, do purchase the thin ones because the thick ones are more for deep frying and there's a huge difference in taste. The thin ones will give you a much more delicate wonton wrapper and it'll be so much better. I've tried both and I really recommend buying the thin ones. Oh, and before we start, don't forget to wash your hands and prepare a small dish of water and some paper towels. So there are many ways to wrap wontons, and I'm going to show you 2 of my favorite ways. The first is a traditional style. This style holds more filling and is easier to fold versus the other one, which I'll show you later. But start by placing 1 wonton wrapper in your hand. Put a small amount of the filling directly in the center of the wonton wrapper. Dip your finger in a little bit of the water and draw a line on one end of the wonton. Then go ahead and fold it over and gently pinch it together at the top to ensure that it's sealed. So you should have something that looks like this. Next, place a bit of water on the bottom left-hand side of the wonton and fold the quarters under, tucking the bottom left under the bottom right. And close. And there you go. See? He's pretty cute, huh? Okay, so now let's try the classic style. Now, I call this the classic style because it looks really classic when you cook the soup. These wontons are floating and the folds, it looks very classy. So that's why I call it the classic style. But it's my grandma's favorite because there is less filling in here, but it's also harder to make. So again, start by putting one wonton wrapper in your hand. Put a little bit of the filling in there, less than the last one. Dip your finger in the water and draw a line on two sides of the wonton wrapper. We want to fold it into a triangle shape, like so. So it should look like this. Now here's kind of the tricky part. Fold the top triangle down, put your pinky finger to hold it. With your other finger, take a little bit of water, put it on the back side of the wonton, and close it together. Pinch, and voila! See? That one wasn't too bad, wasn't it? Again, you'll practice and you guys will get it. So that is what the classic folds look like. Now I'm going to cook some fresh wontons so you can see how I make the soup. And for the rest of the wontons, I'm just going to throw them in the freezer. They usually take about 45 minutes to an hour to freeze. Then I'll throw them in the plastic baggies so that they're easier to store.
Now, let's cook. In a small saucepan, bring some water to a boil. Carefully put in your freshly wrapped wontons and gently boil for 4 to 8 minutes or until the wontons are floating and the wrappers are cooked. Once they're done, remove the wontons and put them in a serving bowl and discard the water. Next, you can heat up the same pan on low heat, put a little bit of olive oil, and then add the green onions we saved earlier for making the soup. Gently stir fry for about 5 to 10 seconds to bring out the flavors, then immediately pour in fresh filtered water for our soup base. Bring the soup to a boil and add a few generous pinches of sea salt and white pepper to taste. Then pour the hot soup over your cooked wontons and serve.
So this is how you make my grandma's classic wonton soup. It's super satisfying, very delicious, also really easy to make for a weeknight if you're using the frozen wontons. So if you love wonton soup, do give Granny's recipe a try. I don't think you'll be disappointed. Please give me a thumbs up if you like this video and maybe share it with a friend and have a wonton wrapping get together. And if you don't have a friend who's interested in making wontons with you, well, that's okay. Buy the ingredients, press replay on this video, and I'll cook along with you. So with that, happy wonton wrapping, and I will see you guys next time. Bye! That was really good.